Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. So the Washington Commanders keep getting bad injury news, and this time it's Terry McLaurin, whose status for this week and possibly multiple weeks is in doubt. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, all that good stuff. We're like 40 subscribers away from 16,000. So let's get right into it. So there is no definitive answer on the Terry McLaurin injury situation. It's honestly, every day that goes by, there's more confusion. Is it a quad injury? Is it a core injury? You know, he was jogging after the Luke McCaffrey touchdown to get his ball. Obviously, that's different than, full out sprinting, and, players play on, torn ACL sometimes. So every player is different. Every situation is different. But obviously, seeing him run a little bit afterwards was, encouraging. And, it's also different for soft tissue injuries. It's usually a little bit harder to run after those, but also you have adrenaline, and sometimes that makes it easier to move around right after the injury happens. But so the news is he's not practicing today. We'll talk about Jayden in a bit. He's visiting a core muscle injury specialist to evaluate his quad injury, which is interesting. I don't know if the quad injury is separate from that, if he has two different injuries, if this specialist is looking at the quad, or if the quad injury was never really a quad injury and it's more a core injury, a sports hernia injury, which is what they have been saying, because this is this guy's specialty right here. William Myers is a sports hernia. If it's a sports hernia, I've seen a lot of people, and I'm not a doctor, I'm just going off of what the experts are saying. I've seen a lot of Twitter fake experts saying 3+ months. No, the sports hernia, they're saying it's a 6-week injury. Obviously still really bad news. Even if he misses this week, it's bad, and just the fact that we don't really know when he's coming back is bad news. But let's see. So this is from Ian Rappaport, who first tweeted Terry McLaurin quad could miss this week, and then after that he says Terry McLaurin will receive another opinion on his quad today, and he's received several, including from Dr. William Myers, a nation's expert in core muscle injuries. As of now, they believe it's a quad injury, but more tests coming as his status is in doubt for Sunday. Just the fact that he's getting several opinions on a quad injury seems a little bit iffy to me. I don't know. And Dan Quinn, all of them have reiterated this is normal, getting a bunch of opinions. Yes, maybe on a major injury, but something like this, if it is something that is only going to keep him out a week or so, usually stuff like that isn't going to require a lot of different opinions. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but it just seems a little bit weird. That he's received several different medical opinions about his injury that seem pretty normal, but is turning out to be a little bit different. So he reiterates the point of his status is in doubt for Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. So definitely concerning there. And Jayden Daniels will practice on a limited basis. Terry McLaurin won't. So Jayden Daniels, we're going to get into that in a little bit, but today, I'm confident, that he will play. Not super confident, but I would say a 70-ish% chance that he plays against the Atlanta Falcons. Already limited on Wednesday, probably be limited the rest of the week, maybe a full participant on Friday. I like his chances of playing on Sunday. Terry McLaurin, I would put it at a 20-25% chance at this point, based off the information that we're hearing and you're not practicing today, multiple different opinions. I just find it hard to believe that he's going to be able to suit up on Sunday. And, especially if it's a quad injury, it's more of a situation where you don't want, soft tissue stuff. You don't want it to re-aggravate. You want it to, fully heal. So maybe a week is, something that helps out with that. And obviously it would help out with that. And I know a lot of people now are bringing up the question, all right, he didn't practice, all of training camp, OTAs, and now he has this. And that is a valid point. Who knows if that's actually the reason he had the injury? And we don't even know what the injury is yet. If it's a major injury that could, land him on IR, or if it's just a 1 week-ish, 2 week, thing, or maybe he doesn't even miss a game. We don't know. But yeah, obviously not playing during, training camp and stuff, like practicing during training camp, hurts you. Even if you're, getting in shape, you're not in football shape necessarily. You're not, going in pads. You're not, hitting people as you usually do. So it definitely is something that, is a valid point by people. And that, but also at the same time, you have other guys that did practice all the offseason that have gotten hurt. Mike Evans, CeeDee Lamb, other receivers as well. So it is what it is. I understand the frustration, but we'll see what his status is for this week. But real quick, a word from today's sponsor. And a huge shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you guys go ahead and check them out. There's a bunch of different things you guys can do on Sleeper. You can get the latest NFL news, sports news on there. Also, you can play in your fantasy leagues on there with your friends, which I have a dynasty league on Sleeper. And then also, you can win real money by making picks. So this week, the Commanders play the Atlanta Falcons. I will have my picks out for that, but obviously, we don't know if Jayden Daniels is playing, if Terry McLaurin is playing, so that obviously will change up some of the picks. But make sure you guys use promo code Pedro on Sleeper. Get a 100% match up to $100. If you put in 10, you'll get 20, and use that link in the description. Terms and conditions apply. Alright, so now let's talk about Jayden Daniels. Just small updates. We don't really know with Jayden until we get to Friday, maybe even Sunday for the Commanders, or Saturday night is probably my guess in terms of when we really know. Maybe if it's really good news, we'll know on Friday. But it'll probably be questionable going into the game. We will see. But he did talk to the media today. That is good news. He practiced. He was limited, but that's still really, really good news. We saw him out there. There was videos. I'll go ahead and pull them up there for y'all. But, good news overall with Jayden Daniels. He also talked to the media. He seemed very he seems very confident that he'll, he feels good enough definitely to play. And kind of seemed like you could tell he's a little frustrated that the doctors are keeping him out. But it is what it is. We understand why they're doing it, an abundance of caution there. But you guys can see, Jayden's there at practice. Here is a clip of him moving around a little bit from Keim. So, it looks like he has a brace there on his left knee. I believe I can't tell. I forgot which knee it even was, but you can see him throwing the football around a little bit there. He's jogging there. Obviously not nearly full speed there, but he wouldn't be doing that anyways in practice. But overall, good news that he's there during practice, and then also that he spoke to the media. Usually the starting quarterback speaks to the media the week that they are going to start. So that is good news. I'll show you guys a little bit more here, and mute it right there, but a little bit quicker here, a little bit of stop and then throw. So yeah, overall good news today from the Jayden Daniels front. Limited in practice. I believe Trey Amos was out there at practice. Don't know if he's a full participant yet. That information will be released later today. And Nikki, or I don't know if Nikki or someone asked him about if he feels any discomfort when he's out there. He says, "Nah, I feel like myself." He's not going to make any excuses, anything like that. But it seems like it's heading in the right direction for him to play. And the max will be, in my opinion, him being out against the Atlanta Falcons, and then being good to go against the LA Chargers week 5. So that's kind of my take on the Jayden Daniels situation. I would say like 65% chance of playing this week, and Terry is a lot lower than that. And then the other guys, who knows? The Commanders' injury bug is bad, man. You got Will Harris on IR. You got Jonathan Jones, Dietrich Wise, Austin Eckler. 2 of those guys aren't going to be, there for the whole year. Will Harris, they want him back by the end of the year, but who knows? And then Jonathan Jones is a hamstring injury, but hopefully he's good. But, a lot of times those injuries, come back sometimes, if you don't fully get it healed. We saw Lattimore too last year. He wasn't himself. And maybe that was just the cornerback he is. He's been very up and down here in Washington. Like week 1 he was good, week 2 and then week 3 pretty good. So been interesting to see there with Lattimore, but he looks like he's good to go, cleared concussion protocol, which is great news for the Commanders, especially considering the their cornerback room right now is not at full strength. And, one player, and I'll say this at the end of the video, Mikey Sanderson needs to step up, man. He has not had a good season so far, so definitely someone that does need to play a little bit better. And sorry I cut out, but it's 3 weeks, so still pretty early, but we'll see what happens with Mikey Sanderson and if he can play better over the next part of the season. But that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, check out Sleeper, and comment down below your score prediction for this game. Peace.